Hello everyone, you are on the air and off the books with Bethann and Samantha, and I am neither of those people. I'm Digital Ben, and I'm taking over today so that you can get to know your podcasters. They asked me to interview them so that you can get to know them a little bit better, get to know about their reading style and their favorite books and things like that so that you can, I don't know, maybe pick a favorite and figure out whose reading style is most similar to your own. I don't know, but I used to be a morning radio show co-host, and because of that, I used to make games all the time. So we're going to gamify this a little bit. So I've got Bethann with me here first. Bethann, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well.
Good.
So here's how this game is going to work, okay? I've got 10 questions for you.
All right.
And then I'm going to go and get Samantha, and I'm going to ask her the exact same questions.
Okay.
So since you guys are not only podcast co-hosts, you guys are also best friends.
Yes.
The way this is going to work is I'm going to ask you these questions, and then I'm going to ask you the same questions about Samantha.
Okay.
So we're going to bounce back and forth between you and her, and then I'm going to do the same thing to her, and we're going to see who knows who better.
This is going to be really great or really bad.
Well, we're definitely going to see. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Samantha, come on in. So I already did the intro and everything. Your whole thing that you say all the time, now I said it. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel really great. I bet you did a great job.
Do you want to scooch a little closer to the mic?
Not as good as me, but there's room for improvement.
Bethann has already done hers, and she's already answered everything for you. And so we're going to find out afterward how well both of you not only,
Oh gosh.
not only are we going to get to know you, but we're also going to see how well you know each other.
All right. I got this.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Question
Wait, I have a question.
Okay, question for me first. Okay, what?
Okay, so do I need to remember my answers?
No.
I answer for myself?
No. I'm going to grade you.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm gonna splice this all together.
Got it.
It's gonna bounce back and forth,
Okay.
and then we're all gonna come together, and you're gonna see how well you did.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you competitive? Do you really want to win?
Yeah, I'm gonna
win. Okay.
I definitely think I'm gonna beat her.
All right. Well, let's see how well you do. Here we go with number 1. Just pretty easy.
Okay.
Tell us about yourself.
Oh, yeah, the best question. It's like going around the room in class and say one thing, and you're like, I have no idea who I am. Okay, I am Bethann. I'm an Information Services Assistant upstairs in ATD at the main branch. I've been here for 8 years, which is forever, and I read a lot of fantasy. That's my favorite genre right now, and then I have a small family, a little girl, and I like long walks on the beach. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, that's about it. I don't know. I'm not a very interesting person.
Okay.
So.
Well, no, it's a difficult question. It's one of those things
is.
that is like, how do I sum myself up into a small amount very quickly?
Yeah.
But the question, of course, is now we're bouncing it over to Samantha. How is Samantha going to describe herself?
Probably the same way. She's probably going to talk about the library, how long she's been here, talk about her reading preferences, and then she's probably going to say something funny too, and then not know what to say.
All right. Well, we will see about that coming up.
Okay, hopefully I'm right.
All right. Question number 1.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name's Samantha, the second half of B&S. Work up here at the library, the main branch. Information Services Assistant. I've been here for 8 years. Going on 8 years, I think. Somewhere around there. I don't know. I'm a gal that likes to read books. It's what I do with my free time. That's all I do with my free time.
Yeah, and what do you think that Bethann is going to say about herself?
I think she's going to say the same thing I did. Oh, dang, I don't know. She doesn't like to talk about herself. I feel like she's just going to say what she does here at the library.
Okay. And that's it, nothing else. Is she going to make a joke or no jokes?
She's not going to make a joke.
Okay.
She might say that she has nothing to say about herself.
Okay.
Or that she doesn't know.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of anything that she would add in.
You were so confident just a
loves
second
pens.
ago. She loves pens.
Yeah. She might say that. I
Okay.
don't know.
Oh, we'll see if she brings up pens. What is your all-time favorite book?
Okay. Man, these are hard questions.
These are tough. Just hitting you hard right off the right off the back.
So definitely, probably The Hobbit is one of my all-time favorites.
Okay.
And then next to that, like right across the line, is Fahrenheit 451 by
Oh
Ray
yeah,
Bradbury.
yeah.
Love that book.
That's a great book. Did you have to read it in school? That's one of the ones that I read in school that I was like, this is amazing.
I didn't have to read it in school. I picked it up on my own. And I've never read any of these other things, but that book just captivated me. And I have like 4 or 5 different copies of it. And then for The Hobbit, I have like 1 billion copies. I don't know. I see when I buy it. I read it every year, both of them. And other than those two, everything kind of shifts every year. So right now, I really I've added to that Psalm for the Wild Built.
Uh-huh.
And then I just finished All Systems Red. And I really loved that too. So there are a few things, and then right now The Way of Kings is like slowly making its way up into that section.
Sure.
It's just taking me a long time to get through, but
they're big books. I mean, the Way of Kings is like 5 books in one, it feels like.
Very, very dense, but very good. So permanently, those first 2 I mentioned. Otherwise, they shift around.
Fahrenheit 451 and The Hobbit.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And what do you think are Samantha's favorite books?
Oh, gosh. Okay. Okay, Zodiac Academy, probably.
Okay.
We don't own that, so don't come find it. I'm sorry, but I do think that is going to be something that she says on the side, because those are her favorites. She talks about them all the time.
Okay.
Or the ones we do have, probably A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm actually not sure.
Is there a specific book in that series you think that she is her favorite? I mean, you're talking about The Lord of the Rings, and you say that the first one, The Hobbit, is your favorite. But, is there a specific book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series you think specifically she's going to be like, that one tops everything?
Maybe the 3rd book in the series.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Okay. And this may not even come up. She may have just been like, my favorite book is something else,
Yeah, exactly. She'd probably be like, no, I don't know what she's talking about. I have no idea. She'll probably get mine, though, because I talk about them quite frequently. But, yeah, I don't know. I think that as far as, like, our conversations and stuff are concerned, because we read such different things, that it's kind of hard to pinpoint it, because she doesn't really talk to me a lot about the things that she personally reads.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, I'd like to know. I would like to know.
Well, you'll find out
Yes.
coming up. All right. What is your all-time favorite book?
Oh gosh. Okay, so it was A Court of Thorns and Roses, that series by Sarah J. Maas. But now, it just recently changed this past week. Now it's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think is Samantha's, or you're Samantha?
I am Samantha.
What do you think is Beth Ann's favorite book?
I think she's going to say The Hobbit.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Any other ones? Do you think that maybe she was, thinking, I'm not sure which one's which?
Okay, there's like 3 different options I have. She's either going to say The Hobbit, she's going to say like, what's it called? Fahrenheit, what's the number?
451.
451.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit 451, or maybe Mistborn?
Okay.
Is that the one with like the breaths?
No, that's Warbreaker.
Warbreaker. Then.
Yeah.
Not Mistborn, Warbreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Brandon Sanderson.
Well, let's see. All right, question number 3. If you can only read one genre of books for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, fantasy.
Fantasy books.
Hands down.
down.
Are
you going to miss other genres without, if you can? Oh, just you're good.
I'm good. So the thing about fantasy, though, is that there are subsections of fantasy. I really like horror and like thriller and like mystery, and there are like subsections like there are like dark fantasy books that have a lot of gore and killing in them, or they're like are political fantasies and things like that. So I feel like I could find underneath all of that
That's true.
anything. So
That's
that,
true.
I'm cheating a little, but
Yeah.
I really love it. I love the world building. I love the idea of it. It's just fantastic. It has never disappointed me. So, fantasy.
And what do you think about Samantha? What do you think is her favorite?
Romance.
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 Yeah. And do you think that she'll miss
I-
the other stuff, or do you think that she can lean so hard into romance that she doesn't even think about it?
I think she could lean hard into romance, but I think she would miss like mystery thrillers,
Yeah.
things like that, because she does. Those are some similarities, and I'm not sure how much romance goes that way, because I don't read a lot of it. But I'm sure it's kind of the same. But I really do think it just would be that.
Okay. All right. We're moving right along.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Question number 3. If you can only read one genre of books for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Fantasy romance.
Oh, that's a very specific subgenre.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say you got to choose fantasy or romance. When you pick these fantasy romance books up from the Kokomo-Howard County Public Library, what section are they in? Are they in romance or are they in fantasy?
Usually they're in fantasy, so I guess it would probably be fantasy.
Okay.
But there is a new genre called romantasy.
Oh, okay.
So that is what I would read for the rest of my life.
Okay, and what do you think that Bethann's favorite genre is? That look on your face, it's like, oh, deer in the headlights here.
It is a tie between historical fiction and fantasy. But
Okay.
I think right now it's fantasy. Not romantic fantasy, like world building, like high fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with fantasy.
What is your guilty pleasure read? What is something that you're like, oh, I hate that I love this so much?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I never thought about that before. My guilty pleasure read. Okay, this is gonna sound really hypocritical. But, so I really so I'm watching, well, I can't say, I don't know if we have any of that. So, coming up I don't know if anybody out there knows anything about the Brandon Sanderson, secret projects.
Uh-huh.
And this is already released, I'm not spoiling anything for you, but there's a book that he just released that I just purchased yesterday because I have been chomping at the bit to read it. But it's The Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and Hoyt is telling the story.
Is that Tress in the Emerald Sea?
No, it's called Yumi and the Nightmare
Oh,
Painter.
okay.
And it's about these two people from different worlds who come together and they have this love story that they share that they can't be together.
Yeah.
And it sounds so, from his perspective, it sounds so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And, in a pure way. Does that make sense? Not I don't know how to explain it. I really enjoy seeing characters very, not exposed, but, open.
Yeah.
And, undone. And not that I like the romance of it, but I like that the possibility of, them sacrificing themselves for somebody, or them establishing this relationship and being so happy, or I like the real life romance story situation.
Yeah.
And I hate that because I really, really hate romance. I don't like anything about it. It's just ugh. But that I really get behind because it's just there's something about reaching out and trying to be with somebody or trying to find yourself, or that sweet moment and then something comes and takes it away or something. So I'm really hoping that I get that from this book.
Yeah.
Because he's her complete opposite apparently, and they have to fight between these worlds to get to each other.
Okay.
And I'm not in it for the romance. I'm in it to see that vulnerability.
Sure.
So, yeah, I guess that would be my guilty. I do read some of that.
Yeah.
I am drawn to that weird, emotional.
Why is
honest?
that guilty for you though?
Because I don't like romance. And it's
Yeah.
very contradictory to say something like that and be yeah, I like to see a vulnerable relationship in a book and chase after that. And if it's a side thing in a book, I really enjoy that a lot more because it's something that's not overpowering the whole storyline.
Sure.
But I enjoy it. I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
So that's my... Otherwise, I don't feel guilty about what I read.
Yeah. And you shouldn't.
Read it.
You should be able to just like what you
Read
like.
you want. Yeah,
you know.
Even if I judge you, read what you want.
Yeah. Well, but I don't know. I mean, I feel that way with movies, like the Mission Impossible franchise, and other things
yeah.
with that. I recognize that it's not like peak cinema, but at the same time, it's just
There's
like
something
it's just
fun about it.
yeah.
I
So,
agree with you.
what do you think that Samantha will say is her guilty pleasure read?
I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it on here. She loves like hardcore, crazy, off the wall romance. She really does. Like anything that's like shock value, I think she loves.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that's her guilty pleasure, like coming up with the craziest things. She'll go on and be like, look at this book I found. And I'm like, oh God, Samantha. Like, what are you reading? And she just loves like the shock value of it. And I think that that's her guilty read because I don't know. I wouldn't read it. But I think it's fantastic that she loves it. And she all the time makes comments like people would flip if they knew like all the things that I love to read. And I'm like, you would be surprised out there who loves the things you love.
Yeah, there are so many books in all of these different genres because people want to read them.
So I think that's it.
Yeah. What is your guilty pleasure read? Something that you just love, but you're like, I don't know why I love this, or I realize that it's not great, but at the same time, it's the best.
Probably really trashy Kindle Unlimited books. Like the worst.
I'm not familiar with what those are.
Just like the worst, like romance, the cringiest, like, super romance books. That's
Super
what I'm
romance.
gonna say.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what do you think that Bethann's is?
Hers is probably gonna be like a children's book, like
Okay.
a children's series, maybe like Captain Underpants.
Okay.
Maybe I'm gonna go with Captain Underpants.
Yeah.
There's also this like goose book that she reads.
Goose book.
It's something about a goose, a geese, a swan. I don't know. One of those things. I don't remember what it's called.
I don't
But she
either.
always tells me that I have to read it. It's one of those.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how well you did. All right. Halfway done.
Okay.
All right. How do you feel like you're doing? Do you feel like you're just nailing Samantha? Do you feel like you just like...
I don't know. I think
100%.
I'm kind of right. I think I'm a little wrong. So I'm like right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
We'll see. Halfway through. Do you feel as confident as you did at the start?
No. Not at all.
Okay.
But I do think that I got more correct than Bethann.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. All right. Question number 6. What is the best example of a book being better than the movie or a TV series?
Every book?
Yeah, but
Sorry,
like
but-
the best example,
The
like...
best example
you
of
know.
a book? Okay, so the Witcher series
Okay.
is awful. Like the movie or the show is awful, but the
Okay.
books are fantastic, and you should definitely pick those up.
Yeah. But are they a direct correlation to the books, or are they a different timeline?
No, I think the problem is that it falls apart in the show.
Yeah.
And in
Well,
the
that's why
book-
Henry Cavill left, right?
Well, that's my assumption. I don't know why he... Because I think, who is it?
Liam Hemsworth?
Yes,
Yeah.
is now The Witcher, and people are not happy. But it wasn't very good to begin with. So,
Oh, okay.
no offense. I mean, if you loved it, I love that for you, but I didn't. And I think you would really, really like The Witcher. It's very, it's very fairy tale, but very grim, dark fairy tale.
Yeah, I love
and
that.
it's fantastic, and it's so well done, and it's so interesting. So that's a really good example, like
Okay.
I think. Otherwise, I really like the book so much better than really any movie.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there are some examples of the movie being better than the book.
where?
Like Fight Club is...
I've never read it.
Okay, and then The Shining by Stanley Kubrick.
I've never read it.
Well, it's they take them in a little bit of a different direction in a way that is, I mean, especially with The Shining, a way that is pretty iconic, and it's an iconic movie.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there are people that prefer the book still to the movie, but those are some classic examples of the conversation of a movie still being
that
better
they
than the
did
book.
a better job. It makes me wonder what people think about the It movies
Yeah.
versus the books, because I've never read the book, so I'm not sure, but I want to know what they think.
Yeah. Well, it's,
I'm not reading it. It's too big.
the book, it's too big. It's so
too
big, and there's so much weird stuff
my
going
gosh,
on.
Yeah.
I think that at the very least, the first It movie did a good job of condensing
Everything
the story
into one go.
into like the moments that you want to.
Has Kaylee read it?
Yeah.
I need to ask her then.
Yeah.
That'd be
So.
interesting. Okay.
And what do you think that Samantha's favorite book being better than the movie example is?
Oh no. It also sucks that I'm not a movie watcher and she is.
Yeah.
So she would know.
Or a TV show. Like we watched through the Promised Neverland and read the manga.
She actually loves.
I know,
and
the manga is so much better. It's
yeah.
so much better. You
So
gotta check
much
it out here
better.
at the library. It's amazing.
Oh, Promised Neverland was phenomenal.
It's one of the best things I've ever read. You gotta check it out.
It is very high up there. Yes, they did It's such a cool concept too. I'm getting on a tangent. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. The book being better than the movie. What has she watched recently? Dude, I don't know. She compared that. I can't answer. I don't think.
Okay.
Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because she compares movies a lot, and like she'll recommend movies based on books that she's read.
Yeah.
She's very good at that. So if you ever need like, hey, I want a book like this movie, then she can do that for you. So I fail on this one. So I'm sorry.
You're just taking the L on that. I get it.
Yes.
What is the best example of a book being better than the movie or a TV show?
I feel like everything. Almost.
Except for
The Summer I Turned Pretty. Book is better than the movie. The one... Probably... trying to think of books that have turned into movies recently. I would say The Hunger Games. I enjoyed the books. The movies were
There's a little too much shaky cam for me in those.
yeah. Or the Divergent series too. The books were really, really good, and the movies were just okay.
Okay.
Bethann probably. I don't know. She doesn't.
She did bring up when I interviewed her. She did bring up that you watch way more movies than she does.
Yeah, she doesn't watch movies. I know that she's talked about the Meg, and I'm pretty sure she saw the movie and she didn't really like it. I would say that, or I don't know. I feel like she said maybe one of the same things I did. Maybe she said The Hobbit again.
She's so confident that the first one, that her favorite book is The Hobbit, that you're bringing it up again.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say The Hobbit.
Okay.
Because I just don't know.
All right.
She just doesn't watch movies.
All right. What is a book series that you're dying for the next book in?
The Bad Guys. It's a kid's book series that I'm reading to Hayden. And I think the movie just came out not so long ago, and it's the cutest movie, but it's nothing like the books. But the movie is good. But
Would you say the movie's better than the book?
It's good. It's equally good. But it's about these animals who have been bad guys their whole life, and they want to be good guys. And then they go on this like intergalactic space mission towards the end of the series, and it's like so far an 18-book series.
Yeah.
And the next one releases in October, and Hayden and I are dying to know what happens next because the main character just got wiped out, and we don't know like what's going on.
Oh man.
And so Hayden asks me every day, "Is the book out yet? Is the book out yet?" No, sis. And she doesn't understand that concept of like we have to wait a few months before this book comes out. So she's experiencing that like, no. FOMO of like, I read all these series in one go and now I can't finish it.
Oh, yeah. Well, as a
So-
fantasy fan, like, you have to feel that very hard. I mean, they're fans of, like, the Kingkiller Chronicles, for example. You know, they've been waiting, like, 10 years. Game of Thrones, people have been
Yeah.
waiting forever for these next ones that, realistically, are they ever coming out? Probably not.
Probably not. Well, but for Patrick Rothfuss, in November he's releasing another like side book of like a novella for the series.
So he's still writing
He's just-
stuff about it, but
He
come
is,
on,
he's
man.
avoiding the whole
get to it.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are so mad, but I would say that I was gonna say I was waiting on some of like Brandon Sanderson's books. I really want him to do Nightblood, which is the sequel to Warbreaker.
Oh, yeah.
But that's going to be a billion years in the future. And by the time I get through all of like the Stormlight archives, I'll be able to pick it up because I'm so slow. So I'm not too worried about that. But I would say the bad guys. It's Aaron Blabey, I think is how you say his last name. Blabey. So you should pick it up and read it to your kids. The graphics are great. It does have potty humor. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry. But it's fantastic. So good.
And what do you think is the book that Samantha is just dying to pick up the next one for?
Well, I know that like I said before, the Zodiac Academy, I think there's another one coming out, and I think she just got an arc for that to read and try to review. I think she is trying to request those, but I'm not sure how that's going. Otherwise, for her series, she wanted, I think it's a new, is it a new Sarah J. Maas book that's coming out that she wanted for the series? Oh, I don't remember because I don't read any of that. But I know that she did get a couple arcs for some of the things that she was waiting for. I know Sarah J. Maas is coming out with something new that she wanted an arc for. That Academy series, and then I think Cassandra Clare is coming out with something that she just got an arc for she's reviewing too. So she's actually got all hers, but she was anticipating those things. So hopefully that's the answer.
Okay. What is a book series that you are dying for the next book for?
Fourth Wing. And I have to wait till November, and that makes me very sad. Yeah.
Fortunately, at least there is a release date.
I know. And I'm trying real hard to get an arc. It's probably not going to happen, but one can only hope.
Sure. What do you think is Bethann's? There's a book in a series that she's just dying for it to come out.
It's got to be some Brandon Sanderson book, and I just don't know what it is. But I bet it's a Brandon Sanderson book.
Okay. Any guesses on what the title would be? Just make up a title name.
If I were a Brandon Sanderson book, what would I be called? Sword Catcher.
Sword Catcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. What is the biggest bummer when it happens in a book?
The biggest bummer what happens in a book?
Biggest bummer. You read this and you're like, oh, come on.
Oh, I guess when, this is going to be vague, but when you invest all this time in a book and then the ending doesn't wrap up like the way that you think that it should, or like when a character does this like weird 180 and goes in a whole different direction than you've ever known this character.
Yeah.
And you're like, really? Like you did that? Just all of a sudden out of the blue, totally left your personality behind and went and were weird. Like that bugs me so bad. Like I would rather you have killed off my favorite character than change this person like mid-book and now I can't even finish it.
Yeah.
Because makes no sense. Makes zero sense.
And what do you think Samantha's? Her biggest bummer?
I think I know this. She hates it when she's reading a series and the series has the point of view of two people for like 3 books. And then like the 4th book or something, they'll switch to a different set of main character views. So they don't even continue with these 2 people that they've been talking about for 3 books. They just switch to Joe and Sally over here. And then they talk about them for 4 books. And she hates that. Like, she's just like, no, this is ridiculous. I think she like DNF'd a series because of that, and she still talks about it. She's mad about it. So I think that's it.
Well, hopefully she remembers that. That is pretty obscure.
I remember it because she gripes about it. She hates when they switch point of views like that because you're so invested, and then they just don't even tell you what happens to them. They're just like, well, they're fine.
Maybe in a
Just
future
move
book
on.
that you're dying to read.
I guess. I don't know.
What is the biggest bummer when it happens in a book?
When like a male love interest that you've been attached to throughout the entire book just ends up being the actual trash of the book, and then they get a new male love interest and that guy is equally as trash. Or when like the main character dies and then like it's like a 5-book series, but like in the 3rd book the main character dies and they just continue the series with like the side characters. That's the biggest pet peeve.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about Bethann?
When there's romance in a book.
Just any amount of romance.
Yes, any kind of romance. Yeah.
Mm. And how many books do you expect to read this year? Do you have a reading goal?
I do. I have 100.
100 books this year. Okay.
I'm on 76.
So you're well on your way at this point.
Yes.
Now what and how much for last year? Like did you
I read 100.
100 books last year?
Yeah.
So is that your standard goal for yourself?
It is.
Yeah.
I don't do very well. I would like to get 150, 200 at some point in my life. I'm really, really slow though. And I count all of the 200-300 page chapter books I read to Hayden.
Yeah, okay.
If it's if it's a child's book and it's under 100 pages, I do not count it because I think that that's a little cheating because of all of the pictures and everything in it.
Yeah.
But like the Captain Underpants books that we're reading right now, in place of the bad guys books we're waiting on, are almost 300 pages.
Wow. That's way longer than I remember them being.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they're that long, but they're big chunks of paragraphs with like big pictures and like all these things. I do count those. So,
yeah.
You know, sacrifice me if you want, whatever. Throw stones, I don't care. I count them. And if it's a novella, I do read a lot of novellas too. So the difference between me and Samantha is that she reads a lot of like 1,000-page books. So like her books are like 4 of mine. So I think that's a very subjective number. You can kind of...
Yeah, well, I mean, but yeah. A book is a book, I guess, you know.
I think that if you're picking something up and you're reading it, you should count it. I think you should count your picture books. I think you should take time to read it, finish it, and count it. Other people have different opinions.
Yeah, right. Well, and some people don't include audiobooks, but I'm like, well, a book is a book,
yeah,
you know, and
I agree.
It's one of those things.
There are some people who don't think that novellas are books.
So classically, you know, the big thing that you guys talk about is how much faster at reading that she is than you.
Yeah.
But you're planning to read 100 books. How many books do you think that Samantha's going to say is her goal for the year?
I would say that she's thinking 60 to 80 maybe, but that's because her books are so much bigger.
Yeah.
She's read, quote unquote, a lot less than I have this year. But only because, like I said, all of her books are like 3 of her, like one of her books is 3 of mine.
Right.
Or 4 of mine, depending on what I picked up that week.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, and you've got a lot that you're reading all at the same time. Like, I know you've been working on the first Stormlight Archives book for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And
but you're still...
I am halfway. So I am... I'm not in my second... Like, I bought the book and it's in 2 pieces. Not in my second piece yet, but on all of my, like, because where I keep track on Goodreads, I am 50%. So, that's taking me a long time, but I usually read 5 to 6 books at a time.
Okay.
So.
5 to 6 books all at once, and you finish them whenever you finish them.
I finish them when I finish them, yes.
Yeah. How many books do you expect to read this year?
200.
200 books?
Yes.
That's a lot of books.
Yeah.
But you guys do talk about
goals.
you do talk all the time about how much faster of a reader than Bethann is. How many books do you feel like you've read so far this year?
Okay, I am kind of slacking because I've read like super ginormous books. They're like 800 pages. So I think so far I gotta pick it up because I think I've read like 45, maybe like 40. Yeah, I'm slacking.
I mean, we're halfway through the year at this point, or over halfway through the year.
Okay, but I will say Bethann is like reading some kids' books, and I do read a book to Samuel every night. So if you want to get literal, I read at least 365 books a year. But no, I only count. I told Bethann if it's not at least 300 pages, it's not a book. It doesn't count. Okay. It does not count.
100 pages is a lot for some people, though.
It's like a novella. Yeah, it's a small book.
Okay. How many books do you think that Bethann wants to read this year?
I think that her goal is like 170, but she's probably going to read like a bunch of books to Hayden and count them all and be like, I read 459 books this year. It doesn't count, Bethann. It doesn't count.
So Samantha just did a hair flip.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you need to have seen it to have really appreciated that. I read hair flip.
It was a great hair flip,
too. What do you think is the best thing about working for a library?
I really love being able to have a place where I can be creative and talk about things that I love, which is books. I've always been a reader. And I also really love being able to meet people on a day-to-day basis and have those conversations.
Yeah.
Book talking is one of my favorite things of all time.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the job. Besides the podcast. I really love the podcast.
But the podcast is book talking,
but it's
yeah.
book talking. But it's also very, very creative. I don't know, like, Samantha and I talk all the time about how cool is it that we get to interview authors and, like, what job do you do that? Where you get the opportunities to be able to go out and talk to people that inspire you, write things that you love that affect your life on a day-to-day basis, make those connections, review things. Like, it's just, I get to do what I love on a day-to-day basis with that, and those are my favorite pieces, for sure. So always, if you see me up here, if you have things that you would like for me to help you find, be more than happy to give you a pile of books to go with.
Yeah. And what do you think is Samantha's favorite thing about working? Like, what's the best thing for her about working for a library?
I think that it would be the podcast for sure, too, because it's something that we get to do together. It's creative, and I also think that, like, being able to interview people and having this creative outlet is the same. I think we share that, for sure.
All right, all 10 questions down.
All right.
How did you do?
I did okay. I don't know.
How do you think Samantha's going to do?
She's probably going to do really well. She's a lot more attentive, I think, than I am.
All right. Well, we will find out.
I'm curious. It's going to be great. Awesome.
All right. Last question. What is the best thing about working for a library?
Probably when people come in and ask you for book suggestions. And then you get to go show them all your favorite books. But then it's also really awkward when people ask for book suggestions and you're like, read this. And then they're like, okay. And they pick it up and then they like secretly set it down somewhere. And then they like walk out not with any of the books you suggested. I would say that. Well, also like obviously like getting to read for the podcast and talking about the books on the podcast. I would say those.
Yeah, and what do you think are Bethann's favorite things about working for a library?
I think that she probably answered the same as I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like not tell you since we interviewed her first. I don't know. How do you feel like you did? 10 questions down. Do you feel like you absolutely crushed it? That you know Bethann better than she knows herself?
I definitely think I know Bethann better than she knows me.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not better than she knows herself. But I think I solidly got like 8 out of 10. Maybe partially correct, not like 100% correct. But I definitely think I got like a little bit correct in most of the questions.
All right. Well, let's bring you both together. Let's see how well you did. All right. Bethann and Samantha are back together.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right, just kind of give us, your thoughts. What do you think? How do you feel like you did as far as knowing each other? Obviously, you know yourselves.
Yeah.
But who do you think did better?
I think Samantha did better.
I think I definitely did better.
That's what
Yeah. No, I think I won. I think I solidly
you did too.
won.
Oh yeah. What did Justin call it? What game was it? The newlywed game or something? Where they
Yeah.
get on and they interview like the couples and then the guy's like, I'm sorry, I'll do better. That's me. I'm sorry, I'll listen. I'll take you to dinner. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're sobbing. Like you don't even know me.
Yeah, that's gonna be me at the end of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rethink this whole friendship and podcast.
The podcast disbands after this. This
Yeah,
is it.
I'm gonna have to find a new bee. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
if there were
sad.
only another bee around.
I know.
All right. All right, let's get into it. So the first question, just a basic, tell us about yourself. You both pretty much said the same thing.
knew it.
But
I
it's an
figured you
interesting
would.
question. It's a pretty basic question.
Yeah.
That said, Bethann made a joke. And
She made a
you
joke?
didn't
You
make a
didn't?
joke.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I thought that was interesting
Oh.
because you thought, yeah.
I thought you would definitely make a joke.
He asked me if I thought you made a joke, and I was like, no.
1,000% I did.
What
Because it
your
was
joke?
awkward and I didn't know. Because it felt like I was on a dating site. Like, oh
Yeah,
well,
that's how I felt
blah,
too.
blah. So I was like, okay.
making like a
Samantha's probably
Tinder
gonna do the
profile.
same thing. She didn't. So.
What was your joke? Was
just
it a
said
knock
it.
knock joke?
No. I said long walks on the beach. That's what I like.
Yeah.
If only there were a beach around here. Kokomo
No.
Beach, but
Kokomo.
not
Long
really.
walks on the Kokomo Beach.
Yeah. Well, don't they do that thing where you can get in the water at the beginning of the
Yeah.
day and go walk through the lazy river?
Yeah.
That's a
Really
thing.
early before swim lessons.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How early?
Water walking,
Water walking.
9, I think,
Why do you
9:30.
want to be soaking wet in water at 9 o'clock in
Because
the morning?
it's fun.
No.
Why not? Some people just love it.
I hate
You don't
it.
like? Yeah, she doesn't like to
I
swim.
don't.
All right. What is your all-time favorite book? Bethann said The Hobbit.
Woo!
Mine
got it
are
right.
easy though.
Yeah.
Mine are so easy.
I got it right.
Ugh, what was
And
yours?
she also
What did you say mine was?
I'm not telling you.
Bethann also said Fahrenheit 451, which
Yeah.
Oh, I also
did,
said
you
that.
did say that. Yeah.
I'm leaving.
We need a tracker, like a point
I
track.
said A Court of Thorns and Roses.
She did
Series.
bring that up,
I brought
but
it
she
up.
said it's no longer her favorite series.
Is it
Yeah.
Fourth Wing?
Yeah.
I figured. I should have said that.
Done
Justin
stuff.
said that. He
AA
knows
Rock.
you better.
Justin.
He said you
Justin's
should have
the
just
real
said
MVP.
Akatar and Fourth Wing, and I was like, oh, Fourth Wing. I didn't even think about that. I said Zodiac Academy, and then I
Oh,
told them
that's
not
a
to look
good
it
one.
up.
Don't look it up because you can't get it at the library.
Don't look it up.
All right.
Dang.
All right, so if you can only read one genre of books for the rest of your life, what would it be? Bethann said fantasy.
Oh, I got it right.
You did get it right.
Dude,
But you
yeah,
did
all right.
you did also say historical fiction.
I did.
I do like historical fiction.
I said, I think it's historical fiction. Then I was like, no, it's fantasy. And then I said, I'm going to go with fantasy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you nailed hers as well?
Probably not.
What did you say?
Romance.
You got it half right.
Is it fantasy romance?
Yeah.
Well, I did say that there are all these subgenres under romance
Yeah.
that she can do whatever she wants with.
Romantasy.
So, yeah, romance
Is what I
is
said.
the new tag for
The eye roll.
Ay, ay, ay.
Oh,
Listen,
man.
you love it, I love it for you.
I
You know, honestly, I haven't read a straight up romance in a long time.
Does
It's
have a lot
time
of-
to get back into it.
I know. And I'm going to. I'm going to read one
But
right
the
after we.
prevailing theme is romance. Like, it's the driving force in your reading. So I take that as a win.
Yeah.
Yes, but
I want to consult the judges.
Also, it's very important for me to have some sort of magic or paranormal
Situation.
situation because then it's just this could happen in real life. That's not exciting.
But that's the best kind. See opposites.
She's a realist. I'm a that's never gonna happenist.
That is the thing people say.
Yeah.
Oh no.
All right.
It's going well. For Samantha.
Yeah.
What is your ideal reading situation? Okay, so Bethann, do you want? I'm gonna have you both
I had
recreate
no idea.
yours. So Bethann, you want to start?
I think maybe I got it right a little bit, but
What did you say?
okay, this is what I said.
Okay.
I said you would be on your couch, curled up in a blanket, with the fire going, and you'd have your Kindle. And if it wasn't a Kindle, it was like a floppy paperback, bending the pages all around, cracking the spine.
That is my actual reading situation at home.
Yeah, but then I was like, if she could have any kind of reading situation, I don't freaking know where she'd be. I don't know.
But you did also
Mexico?
bring up snacks and drinks and.
Oh yeah, I said that you would have some like chips because you like chips.
I do.
Some chips going, and then you'd have like your peach Sprite going, or maybe coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's right, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
Did I
it's
get it
not what you
right?
said though.
Not what I said.
But she
But if
changes
you
her
look,
answer.
Like if you saw a window into the house, like that is literally like my ideal reading situation at home.
Yeah.
Because I do have a fireplace and I do like to do that, but I get interrupted too much.
But like, what was your actual one?
A hammock in the woods, no bugs.
Dude, I was gonna say in the woods with no bugs, but then I was like, okay, I don't know.
You were
Dang.
you were this close.
I wasn't gonna say hammock though, because I'm like, okay, can she even get up into a hammock?
Now I'm offended.
She gets her
I
ladder
get
out.
my step stool.
She climbs up into the hammock. But she has to have somebody there to like tie it up for her. Then she gets into the hammock.
It doesn't have to be 18 feet off the ground.
Yeah, we don't need high rise.
Oh my gosh.
It's a
High-rise
high-rise
hammock.
hammock. She
That's
can't get out of it.
fantastic.
Oh gosh, that would be
funny.
terrifying. Like, how
Oh,
high does a
yeah.
hammock need to be for it to start getting kind of scary?
6 feet.
I don't know, like as tall as me to be scary? Because I can't. You can't. If it's taller than I am.
Know that I like hammocks. I like the flat hammocks, but if it's like gonna hug my body, I'm like, no, thank you.
Mm.
Claustrophobia.
Mm.
All right, Bethann, what did you say was Samantha's perfect reading situation?
I said that you would be in some like crazy cool fantasy place, or like somewhere that's like nice and cozy and dark, in like this really fluffy cool chair with a blanket wrapped up, and like your coffee, your fancy coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your book, like your nice hardback book, or you would probably have your Kindle too. But I think you would have your book and not the Kindle.
Yeah.
So
That would be a good one.
That would be a
That's
good
not what
one,
you
but it's
said.
not what she said.
no,
No, I said I would be in like Ireland. Okay,
Ireland.
Picture this, Ireland. Got the grassy grass happening.
Well, this is a new.
The
new
green
thought.
grass. You got a cliff over here with some ocean happening. Okay? You got a broken up, like, fantasy looking castle. Okay? It's broken up. Nobody's inhabiting it besides me. And it's like about to storm, but it's not storming yet.
I would have never guessed this.
It's not storming yet, okay?
This is so specific.
I'm like laying on the grass in a blanket, on a blanket, not in the blanket. Got my wine and cheese tray happening.
I know
Can
that you
I
do like
come?
your wine
Like-
and cheese tray, yeah.
What?
Can I come with
Well,
you?
you're gonna have to figure out how to
Um,
teleport to
yeah,
Ireland.
because I'm not
Fair.
flying.
Okay. Oh, that's true.
So we're gonna have to do some like teleportation
I'll just
situation, you know.
drug you, stuff you in the bag, and we'll go.
That's
and
fine.
then
As
go.
long as I'm not awake to feel a plane crashing, solid.
I'm not gonna crash.
You don't know that. I don't trust
Wow. Yeah,
these
I
pilots.
was like not even remotely close to. Okay.
Yeah.
This is going
That was my
well.
answer.
So, I mean, we're about halfway through. How do you feel like it's going?
Yeah,
About-
you know exactly how it's going.
I feel like I've gotten every single one right, except for that one.
I've gotten them all wrong.
Well, let's see. Who knows? Maybe the tables will turn here.
Yeah.
Let's see how we
the
do.
turntables.
All right. Number 5. What is your guilty pleasure read? Let's start with Samantha this time. Bethann, what'd you say about her?
I told you. I couldn't talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I can say it because I know my grandma watches this now.
Yeah, I gave an example of you coming up and telling us titles of books that we're super shocked about, and they're just like, oh, okay. That's it.
You probably
That's
got it
what we
right.
need. Yeah.
I said some intense romance.
Intense is definitely the alternative word for that.
Yeah. Some alternative romance. Yeah.
Anytime I hear the word alternative, I think of
Oh.
like my high school like skater kids situation.
Yeah. No, nothing like that. No. Yeah. Yeah,
Mine was very vague. I didn't know. I didn't even know.
What did I answer for her?
I don't know.
Wait, what was the question?
Oh, it was anything romance, right? No, that wasn't a guilty pleasure. That was something you said that she hated.
Her guilty pleasure, I would say like reading like children's books. Or some
That's right.
Like what's the goose book that you keep telling me to read about the goose?
Oh my gosh, the Poltergeist. Pick it up.
Yeah,
and
the
read
Poltergeist.
It is the best story, and I've read it like 800 times. It's so good.
Poltergeist.
It's about a goose who haunts this boy. It is fantastic. It's so good.
I feel like I got that one right. I don't
I
know.
think it's by, is it Mark Lawrence or something like that? I can't remember the author, but just pick it up, man.
So what was your guilty pleasure?
Reading about vulnerability and like...
No, I got that wrong.
Yeah, well, good. At least you got one wrong. But no, kids' books aren't a guilty pleasure. They're amazing.
All right. What is the best example of a book being better than the movie or a TV show?
I answered for you. I didn't really know. I was like, I don't know, like The Hobbit.
Okay. If we're gonna talk about it, yeah. That movie sucked.
And then I was
because-
like, maybe she said The Hunger Games or Divergent. I don't know.
No, I don't like any of that. I mean, the Hunger Games were okay, but I don't like what's her name.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
I don't like her either. I feel that deep
But
in
The
my soul.
Hobbit it shouldn't have been 3 movies, okay?
See?
And also, they added all these other things in that correlate to The Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit wasn't written for The Lord of the Rings trilogy. It was written as a standalone epic. So, that's my 2 cents.
So what was your real answer?
I just said The Witcher, because we talked about it earlier.
Oh, dang, yeah. I forgot
And
that we just talked about
For
that.
you, I said I don't know, because I don't watch movies like that, and I have no idea what you would say.
I didn't really know either. I said I listed 47 books. I listed The Hunger Games, Divergent. What else did I say?
I think
talked about-
those were the main ones he said.
I talked about it as well. Curious about what people thought, like who have read the book versus the movies and stuff, but I thought that it would be interesting to know how people felt about that. But otherwise, I just kind of tangent.
Yeah.
Well, you both did make the same comment that was like every book is better than the movie.
Pretty much.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't ever come across one that I'm just like, yeah, the movie was better. Like,
Well, I thought he asked what movie is better than the book. So I was like, yeah, I know the answer. Summer I Turned Pretty series. Show's fantastic. Books suck.
that's
So
interesting.
that would be the one.
We brought up
Okay.
The Promised Neverland and
Oh,
how,
yeah.
despite
Oh,
what we think, that you still
You loved
preferred
the
the anime
series.
to the
I-
manga.
Anime.
yeah. I loved it.
Why?
I loved it. I
It was
don't know.
awful. It was awful. It was literally so disappointing.
I was so
upset.
I was addicted to it, and Nolan was too.
It's almost like they did the first season perfect, and then they got to the second season. They were like, "We are tired of doing
Okay,
this."
but to be fair, I didn't read the manga, so I feel like if you guys wouldn't have read the manga, if it wasn't a manga,
I
which
stopped
never happens.
watching it to read it because I didn't like it.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing, but
So
I
if you
actually
would've never read it-
I did finish it. I had never read any of the manga. I watched the anime and I was like, "This is disappointing," and then I read
loved it.
It was so good.
Yeah, that's why I stopped.
I loved it.
I was like, I'm
like,
gonna
what
read
is
it
happening?
because I bet this isn't right. And
No.
then it was the manga was just superb.
You guys are a lot more picky than I am.
Yes.
I guess that's what you're
Yes.
finding. All right, what is a book series that you are dying for the next book for? Samantha, what did you think?
I said it had to be some sort of Brandon Sanderson novel. And then he told me to make up a Brandon Sanderson title. And I said, Sword Catcher.
That's fantastic.
Solid title.
Brandon, you heard it here first.
Sword
There's your
Catcher.
next-
So if you write a book and it's called Sword Catcher, I'm gonna come after you with them rights.
Oh, that's too good. And that's not what I said. I mean, I did bring up Brandon Sanderson, but I specifically remember saying that by the time he's ready for that next Stormlight Archive book, I will not even be there yet. So I'll be able to pick them all up when it's ready.
That's true. So what
Like,
was
I'm
it?
not.
What was your book?
The Bad Guys.
You know what? I thought about that.
Hmm.
Children's book.
Well, Hayden and I are anxious to get on with it. You know what I mean? It's not out yet.
Yeah. Gonna have to
So
wait.
good. Unfortunately, yeah. Hayden's chomping at the bit. So,
What did you think mine was?
I like named Cassandra Clare.
Cassandra Clare!
Sarah J. Maas, and
What?
I named the Zodiac Academy book that's coming out, and I named.
Oh yeah, I am excited for that one.
All of these arcs, and I know she's reading them already.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. What?
Mine's Iron Flame, the second book too.
Oh god.
Fourth Wing.
Freaking Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a phenomenon.
But Zodiac Academy was a good answer.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that would be my solid second that I'm excited for.
Dang it, Fourth Wing.
You almost got it right. I'll give you a half point for that.
But no cigar.
Well, it looks like you're feeling bummed. And speaking of bummed, let's talk about the biggest bummer when it happens in a book.
Oh, I need to know what you said. Like, what your answer is. Just tell me first what your answer was for yourself.
For myself?
Yes.
I said when I had two answers, is when like a character like has like a love interest and then they end up being like the trash of the book, but then they get a new love interest and they're also like trash as well. And then my second answer was when like you got a 5-book series, okay? They killed off the freaking main character in book like 3, and then they continue the story with the side characters. Can't stand that.
Does that count?
I now that you mention it, like I remember when she was saying it, I was like, that is not at all what Bethann says. But now that you mention it, it is kind of similar.
This is what I said. When you have like this big series, and like the first part of the series is about these, like in these points of view, and in the third book, it's about all these other points of view, and then they just forget about so and so.
Yeah,
and
that
never
counts.
complete.
That counts, I would say.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
you were like, that is the vaguest thing.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, my beef here is just end the series and start a new one. Make it a whole different series. Like, why are you stopping
Okay, so that is a point
in the
for
middle of
me.
the series
I am fighting for that.
about Todd and Bethany, and then
I said Sally and Joe.
yeah, Sally and Joe, and then the last half of the series is about Eric and Belinda.
Yeah,
or
that counts.
Petunia.
100 billion%.
Like, why?
I would.
I would love to know why. So if you're an author and you're listening to this, please tell me why. Because I don't like that. It's not about that.
All right, what do you think that Bethann said?
If a book has any kind of romance.
Oh, yeah, that sucks. But what did I say? Oh, when the personality of a character does like a 180 and then they go off and do this weird thing that you never anticipated that they would do, I would rather you have killed them than them just have a whole personality of people and then just fly off into the distance. Like, who are you even?
Yeah, but like, what if it's
time.
a terrible character? Like they're awful, and then they try to make themselves better.
Still awful because you should have built that up.
What if it's a plot? What if it's a plot twist, like in Warbreaker, when those
A
two
personality break, a mental
dudes-
breakdown, and becoming a whole other person is a disorder, and
Is a
not and not like a writing device or like.
But what
plot
if like the
device.
whole plot of the book is they were like just faking it to make it?
Okay, but you would have seen hints of that throughout the entire book before. Like, I'm making connections with you, and now all of a sudden you're just like you're rude and ugly, and you were never hinting that way.
Yeah.
Or like, no, man, like no,
There's a lot of books like that. But I feel like that's like a plot twist. Plot twist. You're trash. Yeah.
All right, let's dive into how many books that we think that we're going to read this year. Let's have you say how many books you think that Bethann's going to read this year.
I shaded you so hard on this question. I said...
So rude. You better not said 10.
No, I said the opposite. I said Bethann is gonna okay, her goal is probably 160, 170, but she is gonna straight up read children's books and graphic novels the entire time and been like, I'm at 457 for the year.
I can't stand you.
And then I did a hair flip.
I cannot stand you. I said 60 to 80 for you. And I was nice about it. Just for the record.
No, I was like, yeah, she's going to read 29,000 children's books and she's going to count them all.
This is what I said, too. As I said, there are people out there, Samantha, who think that novellas and certain children's books don't count as books.
That is why it is not called a novel. It is called a novella.
See what I told you? And then I did make it a point to say that Samantha and my reading are equivalent because she reads books that are 4 of my books. Yeah. So I was nice about
So really what she's saying is I should be counting my 900-page books as 4 different books.
I did say that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start doing it. Racking up them Goodreads.
So the purpose of this is to get to know you guys, not to destroy the podcast.
So we failed
start
the
a
mission.
literal fist fight. Because I said that I count children's books that are between 250 and 300-something pages.
Dang, what children's books are you reading?
Juvenile fiction.
Oh, well.
She did bring up the same book that you brought up, which is Captain Underpants.
Yeah.
They're almost 300 pages, if not that, depending on what you pick up. We're reading the full color edition, and they're a little bit longer.
If it is 300 pages or more, I will let you count that.
See what I'm saying, people? See what I'm saying?
But if you are straight up going to go to Kindle Unlimited and buy yourself a 99-page novel, ma'am, you could not count that as a book. That is not a read. That is a 1/3 of a read. So you gotta...
I absolutely have so many graphic novels and so many novellas.
I'm like,
that
you
I've read
gotta...
this year.
If you're gonna do a graphic novel, books 1 through 5, 1 book.
Dang, you're ruthless.
Yeah.
So my reading has amounted to nothing.
By the end of the year, Bethann will have read 40 books altogether because she's got to condense them.
Oh no.
Yeah.
My goal was 100. And I've read 76 books so far this year.
My goal is 200. And I think I've read 40.
I think I said that you would read 40.
Yeah.
You would read 40 or 50 or something.
Yeah. No. I'm also really bad at tracking my books. So there's definitely books I read at the start of the year that I forgot to track.
Goodreads.
The hate.
Well, I use Goodreads, but I didn't actively start really using it until February. And so then I had to remember what I read and...
Also, I said, now just slipped my mind, dang it. Oh, that I read 5 to 6 books at a time, and I think you read 1 at a time.
Yeah, well, I started recently reading 1 to 3 books at a time, and I think it's really killing my reading goals, and I just need to stop doing that because I've been on 1 book for 3 months, and I usually read a book in a week or less. So I think I just need to stop reading multiple books at a time and just...
How long do you give yourself to finish a book? Do you have a goal for that?
A month max, or I'll DNF it.
Oh.
Because if I am not wanting to go home and pick up the book, right away, or I'm not thinking about the book randomly throughout the day, dang, what's going to happen? Or dang, I really love these characters.
You're such different readers.
I'm then it's not good enough.
You know how long it took me to read The Trench?
Well, I know how it took you. I know how long it took you to read Silka's Journey because I'm pretty sure you're still on that journey.
I'm on that book 2 years.
It's her selfless journey, okay?
Okay, listen. She says 2 years, but it's been 5. It's definitely been 5.
It really did take me about 3 years to read The Trench, and I loved it.
See, like, I just, like, that to me feels like you don't appreciate the book enough to make it important. Make it important in your life.
Savage.
So, like, if it's not important enough for you to finish in, like, a month, and you're not dedicated, your heart and soul.
It's a comfort read. It's something that I go to when I need that thing, and I put it aside until I can come back to it.
Just check out a cookbook, okay?
No.
Flip through the pages, make some
No.
recipes, comfort read.
So different.
Okay,
so
but like,
interesting to
also,
me.
how do you remember what you're reading?
Absolutely, I remember.
You remember?
Yeah.
No, I'd have to start over.
Considering my memory sucks in real life, but with
Mine
books
also
I can
sucks.
remember, I can absolutely remember, and I can distinguish between everything. I know what's happening.
No, I'm like, there's like very few books that I could like super remember, like in detail.
But you also speed read.
Yeah,
I
I do.
take forever because
I do speed read.
reread things all the time.
Yeah, I'm like a skimmer. I'm not gonna like word for word read every single line.
I do
will go back
that.
and reread
As
sentences.
soon as the author starts describing what the room looks like, I skip that entire paragraph.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care about this.
Yeah. It's
Really?
like, why
Yeah.
do you need to?
I
mean,
back.
I already make like a picture in my mind of what I think
Yep.
things look like. So like, I don't need you to tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah,
okay?
right. Yeah. Yep.
Do you
Skip.
highlight?
No.
Highlight.
Absolutely highlight.
You're a
Annotate.
note taker,
Yeah.
annotator. Yeah.
Absolutely, I highlight them.
All right. So don't highlight in the library books.
Please don't do that.
Speaking
Yeah, don't
of
do that.
the library, what is the best thing about working for the library? I'll spoil it for you. You guys both said the same thing.
Yeah, I figured we
Yeah.
would.
See, knew it.
Even though we clearly hate each other now.
Yeah.
Yes. So
We're gonna
you
have a
said
fist fight.
that you both love recommending books and you both love doing the podcast. Now that you've done basically the newlywed game
Yeah.
of this, do you feel like you're still gonna love doing the podcast?
Oh yeah.
Or did I ruin this for you?
No.
It's gonna be.
I think it's cool to see that. This is proof positive right here that you can be friends with people and not have to love the same things. Like you
Yeah.
can love people for the things that they love and the things that they read and support them without being exactly alike. I mean, and you can come in here and you can come with your friends and you can find different things and read together and not read the same things.
Yeah.
You can do it. Like just get to know your friend.
Yeah. Don't force them to read things they don't like,
Exactly. Don't
'Cause
force
they'll
me to
cry.
read romance.
and then they won't like you anymore.
Well, and that's what's so exciting when you review a book together and you both loved it.
Yes.
You know, being that your taste in reading is so different, but you both came together and agreed on one specific thing. I'm surprised
It's
that neither of you
usually-
said the like murder mysteries. Or,
Yeah, I'm surprised too because it's usually like thriller and crime that we like both
Yeah.
love.
Well, and it's also interesting for you guys to see too that we are so different because I think people just assume we read the same things.
Yeah, which
And
we
we
don't.
really don't. Like we don't remotely even we sometimes cross over with some
Yeah.
of our preferred genres, but not really. And it takes a lot to decide what we want to read for the month
Mhm.
that we both agree on. And I'm not like, oh, you're gonna hate this, or like I'm gonna hate it. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna read it. Like, it's a compromise.
Yeah.
And even though we
fist fight sometimes and like beat each other up, we're still friends
Great
on the
friendship.
end.
friendship.
And that's what it's all about. It's all
That's
about
right.
friendship.
Yeah. Hearts.
But at least you can come in and talk to us, and you can have a wide variety of genres to be recommended.
Yes.
And we can book talk with you about A to Z. So,
Yeah.
we're a dynamic duo.
Just don't be asking me about historical fiction.
Ask me.
I'll
Don't ask
refer
me
you
about
straight to
romance.
Kristen Hanna, and that's all I know.
She's kind of romance.
No. See? Shows how much I know about historical fiction.
But yeah, all right. I like it.
So who would you say won the competition?
You
It's-
won.
I think the listener won this one.
He slowly backs out of the room.
It was an equal. It was a tie.
No,
Right.
it wasn't. Listen. Go back and listen again.
Yeah. The true answer was just friendship.
Friendship is the only answer.
That's good. I liked it. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Cool.
We should do that more often.
What do you guys have coming up?
Oh gosh, we've got we took like a book quiz on what was the website?
Oh, Book Riot.
Book Riot.
And to recommend us a book to read.
Bethann got Tea Dragon Society, which she
is
read.
A children's book.
Yeah. Surprise there. Her guilty pleasure. And then I got
you got a historical fiction or a nonfiction.
No, I got a beach romance.
I thought you got a nonfiction because it was Austin's read you wanted to read.
No, that was for a different thing that we did.
Oh, jeez.
So you got the Tea Dragon Society, and I got The Summer. It's a famous book. It's orange on the cover.
We'll tell you when you get here next time.
Yeah. The People We Meet on Vacation. Had that title completely wrong, but yes, The People We Meet on Vacation. And I do have that book, too. I bought it a long time ago.
So we are going to review those for you and let you know how we thought about them?
Yeah.
And that is what's next.
Yeah. And then we've got a blank. We don't know what we're going to do for the next week. And we're just going to come up with something.
We've got an idea.
It's a mystery week.
It's the mystery episode.
It is.
You guys will only know when it happens. So you have to listen in.
Okay. I like it.
All right.
See you guys later.
Since you introed.
Oh,
Yeah,
I have the outro? Okay, I was like, this is your jam. All right, cool. Well, I hope that you now know the podcasters, Bethann and Samantha, a little bit better now, so that when they recommend a book, they'll be like, yes.
Yeah, thank you for listening to your fellow BSers. You know, we're here twice a month. Happy to provide you with them book titles.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.